in a couple of days. What does this mean, especially with all these members of parliament that we're seeing by this Mzalendo Trust that are not contributing in parliament? Do we need to reduce the number?
You know, George, the role of a member of parliament is known. We send an MP to parliament to oversight the executive, to legislate, and to represent us, the people. And of course, to budget. But you see, again, the problem is not the person who is there. The problem is with the people who are electing people who are buffoons into parliament. You leave out people who can do the job. You give the job to a person who has no capacity. So who do you blame? You can only blame yourself. The other people or the other organ or the institution that must be blamed are the political parties. Why take people, why give tickets to people who have no capacity to do the job and leave out people who can effectively represent the political party? So for me, those are the people we should be really blaming, throwing the blame at. The person casting the vote and the political party issuing the ticket, knowing very well that that person has no capacity. But again, Mzalendo needs to be a bit fair. They are saying that these people don't participate in parliamentary activities. You saw all of them come into parliament to vote for this finance bill that Kenya had rejected. You saw them coming to impeach Rigiji. So these are just people who are used as voting machines. They are people who have no brain of their own. They are people who are in the wrong place. But who should we blame? The blame lies squarely with parties and the people who send these people to parliament, knowing very well that they cannot do the job. So 2027 is coming. We are hoping that President Ruto does not play some tricks to extend his term using the back door. We want these elections as scheduled. August 2027. Now that the voters are enlightened, more so with the millennials and Gen Zs, we want to send these people home so that we can have a properly constituted parliament.
Kirwa,
Yes.
Members of parliament that have been named and splashed on the dailies as not performing. Does performance mean lack of contribution on the floor of the House mean that they're also not performing on the ground, as it were?
Well, it's very interesting. Some of the members of parliament, it happens, of course, one is my own MP,
Who is?
Patrick Simiyu of Cherangani. You may find that some of these people are very active on the ground. Take, for example, Oscar Sudi. He's very vocal at home, and because, of course, at home you can talk in vernacular, you can talk in Kiswahili, you can mix Kiswahili and English. But to consistently make a contribution on the floor of the House is almost something that members of parliament and those who want to go to parliament, like my good friend Philip Kisia, should learn that if you don't take time to make a contribution within the first 3 months, you are likely to keep quiet for 5 years. And I know there are many members of parliament who never uttered a word until they were either denominated or removed out of parliament in the past. So that's the risk. But performance of a member of parliament is just beyond just making a contribution on the floor of the House. There are various committees, and that is where now the bulk of work is done. But of course, you would expect if a member was in a committee and he made serious contribution and he has serious opinion to make, he should be able to follow up at the plenary in the floor of the House. The second issue is that some of the members of parliament are voted because of other reasons. It may be that they flashed a lot of money, and therefore the constituents might have thought these are people who are effective, only for them to realize that they are not. Some are voted because of the tribal arithmetic in certain constituencies. Some are voted in because of other considerations, such as a political party that is popular in an area. And once somebody gets nomination, then he has almost a chance of sailing through to the end, such that competition has been reduced to just mere positioning of the party leadership. And of course, to amplify what my colleague has said, political parties should be vigilant because, as you realize, the entire house has not been emasculated, and therefore the shouting, I'm sure, if you are to check during voting, most of these guys were shouting at the top of their voices, just because they had a chance to do that. And but when it comes to concrete contribution, which is expected of a member of parliament, they are likely not to make a lot of difference in terms of distinguishing themselves from just being ordinary member of parliament by making a contribution that stands out. Now, let the people decide, and in future, they should also be weighing somebody just beyond the nice speeches on the platform, caricature, and money. They should be looking at what does it mean for us to be represented by somebody who has no capacity to face his colleagues and make a contribution.
Mheshimiwa Pagisha, you were majority leader in the Senate. What is this that makes some leaders, some MPs to be specific, not contribute on the floor of the House?
Well, George, the last time